And we're live. That's the camera. So we should be looking this way.
I know it's weird though.
I
feel like the camera should be right there.
Well, it's too late for that.
Cheers.
Q-Tip wants to be in the live stream.
Okay, co-hosting. Tip tip.
Hi, Victoria. It's been a while.
It's been a
while. Yeah, I named the stream today Barrette bochinche.
I don't get it.
Well, since we're talking about a mother-daughter, I put up a picture of barrettes. You know, I used to do my hair with barrettes. That's why. Making the connection between mother-daughter time and gossip. Since you and I are mother-daughter, but you don't do my hair anymore. Well, you just did.
I was just getting ready to say, yes, I do.
Yeah, I asked her to put my hair in 2 cornrows that I actually just took out last night because I had a blazing headache. And so I needed to because it wasn't helping the situation. I don't think it was from that though.
I don't either because I didn't do it tight.
No, it was just I had a headache. I think maybe I didn't drink enough water yesterday. Q-Tip, you gotta chill. Look at her. You see where she's at?
Now I do.
She's trying to get you guys' attention. Hi, Indigo Flow. You know I'm an alliteration junkie. I love using alliteration. All right. Everybody can hear you.
She wasn't saying a word before this camera started.
She
now
sure wasn't.
She's got so much to say. We call her Karen, and she's really being a Karen right now.
I call her Tipper.
Yes, she is.
All right. So we're just doing a quick little check-in with you guys. We haven't seen you in a while, so we're back with the jump off. We're going to talk about Chantel and Jackie Christie.
And the mess that they are.
Right?
I really want to hear people's perspective on this.
Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying, when I was younger, I remember having friends that actually did physically fight with their moms. Not a lot of them, but I do remember 1 or 2 of my friends getting into heated arguments with their mother and them it coming to blows. Not to the point where it was too violent, but it was more so like she smacked me, so I smacked her back, and that was the end of it. But
what?
Yeah.
You never talked to me about that.
Well, I thought it was an appropriate time to talk about it now, but
wow,
I never talked to you about it because I didn't understand it, and you didn't raise me that way.
That's why we should have talked about it. But
I knew that. I just knew that wasn't something that I could do. No matter how mad I might have been at you when I was younger, I never felt like the answer was, well, let me smack her. Ooh. Even when you smacked me, I never had the instinct to strike you back. Like that was just never, and I'll be honest, there were times I may have wanted to just because I was so frustrated, but
I think that's real.
There was still something that held me back for the sake of respect, knowing that you're my mother and that just wasn't appropriate. And you were saying before we started, you've never thought about hitting Nana. But I can see why. Nana's not really a hittable mom.
She wasn't your mom.
Okay. So were there times where you actually wanted to hit her? Like she made you that mad before?
Yes.
Really? I'm surprised to hear that. Because now you guys' relationship is very different from when you were younger, obviously. But mentally I can't put myself in a place where I'm watching you guys have such a exchange.
In my mother's defense, my problem, I think most young girls have, it is not unusual to have a tumultuous relationship with your mother in your teen years. And there's layers to girls evolving into young women, evolving into women. And as a teenager, my mother was trying to control me, and I'm not like, don't try to control me. Even as an adult, don't try to control me. The more you try to control me, the more I resist you. So a lot of my conflict with my mother was her trying to control me instead of understanding me. So
you took all of that out of her.
You can't control me. Yeah.
The reason I'm saying that though is because there's no sense of wanting to control in her now. Like, I don't even remember being.
So that's another thing that happens as you get older. You just don't care anymore. You stop, like, you don't have it in you to fight. You just let things be. That's why I don't try to control you anymore. I just, all right, Toya, I say what I have to say. And as soon as I feel like we're going back and forth, it's like, because you're old enough to understand that no matter what I say, what's going to happen is going to happen. The lesson is going to get learned. I don't need to try and beat it into you. Begin to understand how things work so you don't have to fight for the things that you used to fight for. You have a clearer understanding of how this will work out.
You just be like, all right.
I really do. Don't I?
You do, but you still, like you said, yes, I did say my mom's a Scorpio. You still say what you're going to say, which to me is still an element of control, not what you say, but how you say it, because your method of communication is very Scorpio-like. You still bring that stinger out, with a side of what you're going to say. You're going to get this stinger too. And so for me, it's like, not necessarily from a controlling place, but more of a judgment. Like,
Yeah.
For example, the other day when I told you about the bar I went to, I didn't even get to the good part of the story. I was so excited to share that with you, but your lens of it was very different from mine. And so my attempt to share something that was exciting and joyful was dampened by your thinking that there was a lesson attached to it.
You need to tell the story so it makes sense.
I am, but I'm just prefacing it. So last week we had a company outing at a local baseball field or whatever. And near that field is where I used to work a few years ago. So there was a bar that I would frequent from work in that area. So I decided, since I haven't been there in about 5 years, let me see if it's still open. Just because, COVID, everything being closed and businesses shutting down, I was curious. So since I was in the area, I drove over there just to see. Much to my surprise, it was still open. And I forget what your reaction was when I said that. It was something about there being, was it a white bar?
Yeah, I asked, was it a white bar? I instantly knew, but I wanted to hear you.
Yes, because this part of New Jersey is not very diverse. And I worked in it for years. So I'm very familiar with the area, the people in the area, whatever. And that bar specifically. Sometimes I would go there for lunch because they had a little grill and they would make certain things. It's a dive bar, so nothing fancy. But so I went in just thinking, let me see who's in here. Let me see who's working, if the same people are there. And much to my surprise, there was the same guy working there, and he recognized me. And so we caught up a little bit. And I even pulled up on my phone the last time I was there because I had a picture. This is what I love about Snapchat. You can literally go back to any year and just scroll through and see where you were. So I ordered a drink. And when I went to go pay for the drink, he was like, no, don't worry about it. It's on me. And I wasn't expecting that. I thought that was really cool. Gave me a handshake and said, don't be a stranger. And so it was like a nice cap off to a nice day. And I was excited to come and tell my mom about that. But when she hit me with the, was it a white bar? I'm like, what is that? That's immaterial to what I'm trying to tell you.
You're right. I have to own that.
But
that's just the Scorpio in me.
So this is my point about control. Not that
That wasn't controlling. That's just that stinger you were talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because you're going to say what you're going to say.
I know.
And I didn't even get to finish what I wanted to say. Now that I have, you just said it. You owned it. It was immaterial.
It was, but you know, that's my mind. I have this thing. Sometimes I've gotten better about it, though. I really have. But if it's on my mind, I'm gonna say it. And I don't have a filter when it comes to the people that I love because I feel like they know me. It's not fair because I know that it can be jarring and hurtful.
I'm glad you know that.
I'm working on it. Listen, I'm not perfect. I told you years ago, I need to work on myself. And I have been doing that. You know, I'm very mindful now. Whereas before, I would say it and you would complain. And I'd be like, I don't care. But I do care now. I cared then, but that was just a defense mechanism. So anybody that has a Scorpio in their life, you have to be able to relate to what Toya is describing. And if there's any Scorpios in the audience,
there is. Victoria,
you have to understand that about yourself. And even though it's a part of you, just be more mindful of how it's received, especially to people that you care about. The people that I don't care about, you're going to get it. I don't have time to care about everybody, but
so Victoria says, I love it. That's how I am. We like communication, the ability to choose and not to be told what to do. Which I understand. That's also fixed sign energy, which I am also. So that's where we butt heads a lot. We're both fixed. We're both stubborn. We're both unrelenting. You know, unwilling to move where we feel like that's where we should be.
See, now that's not absolute.
It's not absolute, but we have that tendency.
One of the things I like about getting older is because the self-awareness that comes with being old, if you're lucky and if you do the work, let's just say that. And I am lucky and I do the work. But you do kind of think before I say things. But again, when it comes to like you and Nana, Cassandra, Salik, those are my best friends. And I can just be myself unapologetically because they understand I'm not coming from a hurtful place, which in turn is why I don't have a lot of friends. Like I have everything I need, so I don't have to shift. So let's talk about Jackie and them again. I mean, Jackie and Sean. And get back to the mother-daughter fight. Did anybody see that, hear about that? Jackie Christie laying hands on her grown daughter. So, and then you saying that you had friends. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me because how does it get to a space where there's zero respect? How does it get to a space where the elder, being the mom, doesn't have enough self-control? How does it get there?
Years and years of disrespect.
So why are they on a show together if they haven't healed their relationship? For ratings?
I think that it's not a matter of thinking that there needs to be healing. When it's like the saying goes, you think your shit don't stink. You know, it's like you're okay with the smell of it. Other people may not be, but until they tell you so, you think it's totally fine.
So you don't. So Jackie doesn't have anybody telling her that her shit does stink.
I feel like she doesn't. I feel like
so. To me, then whoever is in her friend circle, those are not her friends. A real friend will check you.
Yeah,
quickly.
Yeah, but if in the same way you just said, that's why you don't have a lot of friends, right? it's quite possibly the same reason why Jackie doesn't. If you have little ability to take feedback from people, and every time someone tries to give it to you, you are resistant to it, this is what happens.
You keep people around you that won't check you.
Or if they do, they just get cut off because that's not what you want to hear, or you can't hear it.
Jackie Christie is a template for angry Black woman, and I very rarely use that term, but there's so many things going on there. I don't look at Chantel, even though she was wrong. I don't look at her. Where did she get that behavior from? What is it about her mom that there's so many questions here. So many questions here. And Chantel is a mom now, so who's to say that she won't reap what she sows? Who's to say that her kids won't grow up and want to lay hands on her? Or not just want to, absolutely lay hands on her. Like, how do you get to a space where it's okay for you to go to blows with your mom? Now, not to change the subject, but I have seen boys fight their fathers.
Yeah.
I have seen that.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a boy knock their father out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand that either, but as a woman, I'm trying to understand us being soft and pink, us being emotional, logical. What would make Jackie Christie think it's okay to hit a grown daughter? Not to mention, she's in the midst of a divorce, or is it final? With her husband, Doug Christie?
I think that was a rumor. That was never substantiated.
It's everywhere, but
No,
it's not real. I look at Doug Christie as to why he doesn't check his wife. Nobody knows her better than him, you know? Like, I do want to know what makes a woman, a person, hit their parent or their grandparent or their aunt or their uncle.
I think it really is just a matter of things getting all the way up to the surface and boiling over. I think you only can take so much as a human being. You get to a point where it's like, and I'm not defending Jackie, but I'm saying that we saw how contentious their relationship was from the beginning, from when we met her. And Jackie did some very questionable things early on in terms of their relationship. So I can only imagine what it's like behind closed doors. And all the conversations that they've been having about it since then, you know, Chantel went on Carlos King and talked about it. But I don't think that we ever really get to the bottom of what the root is in terms of why their relationship is the way it is. She always makes mention of things being not so great growing up. She uses anecdotes about their relationship, how Jackie pitted her against her sister and so on and so forth. Chantel says she's the more outspoken one out of the three children, whatever. But I think it does something, you know, to a daughter when you're looking to your mother to be this person and she's not. Maybe she's letting you down. So you internalize that. And through the years, I don't know what you do with it. For me, a lot of the times I would suppress it because I never wanted to be disrespectful. But then there you have to strike a balance between not being disrespectful and still letting the person know how they're affecting you, you know? And I've struggled with that.
Mm-hmm.
So even to this day, it's like, that's why I brought up the conversation we had the other day, because I shut down. I didn't finish the story. Because for me, with you, it's easier to just shut up. But what you don't see is when I walk away from that, how that affects me for the rest of the day. Just being dejected and feeling like, man, I just really wanted to share something that made me happy with her, and she could only see the red flags. You know, and it's like sometimes as a daughter, you long for having that kind of relationship or exchange with your mother that is loving,
We
fun,
do have those,
lighthearted. Yes.
but I'm not
sometimes we
perfect, honey.
don't.
I'm not
And
perfect.
that's all I'm saying is that you're not perfect and that it doesn't always go that way.
Mm-mm.
And so, in trying to understand how them two got to the point that they did, I feel like when you have too many of those, that's what happens. You have too many of those instances where, hey, I'm your daughter. I want to tell you something good, something that made me feel good. And you're my mother. So you're not going to take your mother hat off and you're just going to be like, well, I'm sure this is fun for you, but it sounds like a disaster to me. And I'm just like, well, I don't see the disaster. I just see green lights ahead, and it's like, no, you didn't look over there.
It's really hard to explain when you're not in a parenting. It's very difficult for you to understand what that is.
Yeah.
But I can understand what you're saying. I understand that. I do. I do.
So,
but I also want you to learn and do better at the defensiveness. You know that I'm not trying to do what you're feeling. You know that I'm not dejecting you. It is me just saying something and you feeling dejected. It's real, but don't always take it in such a negative way. Like at some point you have
that, but I think it needs to be balanced, right? You can't just lean on just because
I
not
agree.
trying to. You have to try to be better at.
I agree.
Let me hold back a little bit. Let her get it out. Let her tell me why it feels good or is exciting or whatever it is. And then once I've reserved the time to be able to, let me, and I know you said the other day, well, that's scripted. And it's not that I want you to be scripted, but it's that if I have the ability in my other relationships to hold space for when people tell me things that they're excited about that I see nothing but red flags over, I'm asking you to do the same with me. Because I am
me though. That is you.
And again, you're asking me to be better about understanding that you're not coming from a hurtful place. I am me, and me is not always seeing the red flags in the situation. So if we could meet in the middle on that, I think we could have better exchanges around those sorts of topics. Sounds like maybe Jackie and Chantel could use that same advice.
I think that we do though. I do. I do sit and listen. You have to also understand, Toya, every day you're coming home with stories. Every day.
Well, you didn't give me siblings.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Every day you come home with stories. I do give you that grace in a lot of the stories that you tell. Sometimes I get full. And sometimes that behavior that you're speaking of comes out. Because we're having this exchange, I'll increase my mindfulness. But there's a lot of stories. I can't stress that enough. You definitely like to come home and share your day. And I hear you. Sometimes it's not even sharing your day, it's just an experience you may have had, something or someone that you've run into. You definitely like to come home and share that. And I like that. It's something that I missed when you were younger. In those stories, there are a lot of red flags. I am doing this in my head, oh my God. And I don't say a word. I let you tell your stories. So
not without making faces at that.
I can't help it. I can't help that. What's that mean? My face will say, even though my mouth is shut, my face and my body language is going to say exactly. I can't help that.
And it takes the piss right out of me.
I really try that, and I try it at work. Whew, I try it at work. I really practice that exercise at work because, honey, again, I relax. It's like a muscle relaxing the minute I walk through my door.
Here's the thing, though. What I understand that about you, but what I wish you would understand is that I have made it to this point in life without you always being there to help navigate the way.
That's good.
That's all I be wanting you to recognize. Because I'm still alive. I still got all my limbs. I'm not on drugs. I'm not out here a derelict of society. So regardless of all the red flags you may hear in my stories, somehow I still come out okay.
I know,
And
but you pushing your luck. You be pushing your luck,
I think
especially at your big age now.
I think it's divine protection. Our ancestors
Okay.
really do watch out for me. And even in situations where hindsight will tell me, oh man, I probably shouldn't have went there. I'm still okay. I'm glad I was okay. I might have been the only one that made it out unscathed, but for whatever reason I have. And you know how they say ignorance is bliss? Sometimes my
Honey.
ignorance keeps me safe.
I just feel like as smart as you are, book smart as you are,
Yeah.
it's not the equivalent
Yeah.
theologically.
Sometimes it's not. But I love that about me too, because it allows me to be open to experiences that I may never have had, and then provides me the hindsight on the other end of it. Like, okay, now I have a fuller picture of what that really was, and it teaches me. I have a different learning style, so I'm not always able to pick it up from you being like, "Don't, you shouldn't, you should. Why didn't you?" It doesn't always come through to me as you may want it to. I may need to experience it in the way that makes you cringe.
Which is, we come full circle. Why I am of the, okay.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I'll tell you. If you want to keep going back, okay.
Yeah.
But because I'm confident in the fact that you'll see.
Right. And you don't have to worry about me ever putting hands on you.
I'm not worried about that.
I know, but like I'm just saying, to the point, to get back on topic, I don't see that ever being a thing.
Mm-mm.
My response to anger with you is to walk away.
It should be that way for everything and everybody.
Yeah,
walk away.
Well, yeah, it is. But I'm saying specifically with you because in other relationships, I have gotten physical. I have gotten to the point of anger where I've thrown things and hit things.
I don't think I've ever gotten into a fight with my friends or loved ones. My brother. But none of my friends. Oops. An ex-boyfriend. I think I was 22 years old. I drop kicked him off my bed.
Drop kicked him.
I jumped from my bed. I got up on my bed, I jumped, and I drop kicked him.
What did you learn from that, Mom?
Then I got a mean kick. I was kind of impressed with myself.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, when I think about that situation a lot, and I know that I never did that again because I immediately felt shame. Nobody was around, it was just that person and myself. But the shame that I felt and the disgust that I felt and how,
that's what I meant when I said, what did you learn?
Yeah, that's what I learned.
It's not cool for women to put their hands on men in any situation.
No.
But I am a firm believer that if you are big enough to hit somebody, you are big enough to get hit back. So that's why I don't play those games.
Yeah, no, I learned that lesson quick. But other than that, no. If you're a friend or somebody that I love and I'm so angry that I want to put my hands on you, maybe I need to check that relationship.
Yeah, definitely need to check myself.
Yeah.
But then also,
laying hands is not the answer because then you just amplified something. And it may not be no coming back from laying hands on somebody, but there is a way to come back from being angry, you know? Exactly. But again, I feel like you know that it's getting to a place where there's a likelihood of somebody getting knocked out.
Right.
Can you cuss on here?
Yeah, you can.
But yeah. I've ended friendships because it's gotten to the point where I've always I felt like slapping a person. Just, it's like, you know what? I can't be friends with you because why do I have the feeling of backslapping your ass? We're not equal right here because I'm thinking this way and I'm very strong on it. You're thinking that way and you're very strong on it. There's no meeting of the minds, so I'm gonna back off. Surround yourself with people that are like-minded.
Right.
And that's a lesson as well.
But also hold you to a high standard, because it's important
Yes.
to be around people who see you for what you are and also could be, not try to hold you back from that.
See, and that is exactly why I love Cassandra and Salik. I can receive the worst criticisms in the world from them and feel good about it, because I know they love me, they know me. They know me surface and they know me at my core. And they know how to tell me to course correct. And I love that. I absolutely love that. They don't shade me. It will be a joke afterwards. Girl, you just ... And you know you shouldn't have ... And we'll laugh about it, and I receive that. And it's easy to receive because there's a trust and a bond there,
My mom's a tough nut to crack. So for those two people to be able to do that, I'm sure was not easy to get to that place.
Over 30 years.
Yeah.
Over 30 years. And it's different than a childhood friend and 30 years. Because my childhood friendships, I had to shift. Because again, what I needed, I wasn't getting. And me being the one that's always trying to course correct them and them not doing the same thing. It was like, yeah. I have people in my, I have people in my life that they know exactly who I am, good, bad, ugly, beautiful. They know exactly who I am, and they know that when I say things, it's not coming from a bad place. But they'll tell me, Adrienne, maybe say it a little different. Maybe go about it a different way. Maybe it's you.
Yeah.
And I'll gasp, oh.
Yeah. You know what?
Reflect, oh.
You know what's crazy?
And you're right.
I just had a conversation with someone recently that I had fallen out with, and I had no clue why we had fallen out. I just knew that we stopped talking. And I asked him, what happened that day? Because he reached out to me for something else. And I was like, I know where it's long done and over with, but can you tell me what went left that day? And when he told me, I had to actually take that on the chin, because it was me. And I tell people all the time, folks don't think that. I get it from you. I get it honest. My mouth can be reckless. Sometimes my mouth can be reckless. I don't always give grace and think and give space. I don't always do that. And there are times where something will come out of my mouth and I'll forget it even came out.
I know.
The next moment, I'm like, dang, wait, I did say that. Yes, I remember. So when he told me what I did, I was like, you know what? Yeah. So we were at the movies, coming out of the movies, and he had a question about something that was on the menu. And instead of me letting the person working answer the question, I said, it's right there. Boy, I wish you would just read sometimes.
That's you.
Yeah, it is. So when he said it to me, I had completely forgotten I said it. But in that moment, I was like, yeah, I do remember saying that. Yeah, I did say that. But I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it landed in a harsh way. I didn't think he took issue with it. Now,
like me.
Going back to the moment, I was like, okay, that is the exact moment when we left there. I felt the shift in your energy. Little did I know, going on with the rest of the evening, and when we parted ways, that was the sever. So then when we came back to it and he told me that that's what I said and did, I actually was like, you know what? You didn't even have to tell me, but you did. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But also I appreciate the fact that you didn't go upside my head. You didn't roast me. You didn't air me out. You just cut it. Stop talking to me. And to me, that shows his level of self-awareness and self-worth, that I got to put up with this. But also, let me tell her where she had me fucked up at.
Let's pause there for a second. That just made me think of something. Like, that's another question. Like, cool and good on him for saying I don't have to put up with this shit.
Right.
But how many times, I'm going to speak for myself, as a woman, I was disrespected by a man and I put up with it.
Right.
You know, there's a path to getting to where that brother was.
Yeah.
Why does it take women most of the time, the journey is longer for women to get to a space where I don't have to put up with that. I have put up with some real disrespectful shit and still gave that man another opportunity to be with me. What is that? What was that? I'm not that way now. I love how I can just I will shut a person down immediately at the slightest inkling of disrespect and never look back. But there was a time where I put up with it in my relationships. And I often wonder and look back at what I was feeling in the space that I was in that would allow me to continue to allow someone else to disrespect me.
That's what you thought you were worth. That's all it is. That's really all it is.
I mean, that's the easy, but it's more than what's underneath that lack of self-worth.
What's underneath you like that before and thinking that that's what it was supposed to be.
Maybe witnessing that
disrespect
and thinking it's normal.
All of that is connected.
I'm just saying, at the surface, it is about your self-worth. But I wonder that about, when I see it, it's so triggering because I do see it even more now with the onslaught of social media. I see young girls posting things and all the disrespectful comments, and they don't block these people. They continue to engage with these people. They continue to engage in the behavior that caused the disrespect. And it's like, is it because of the attention or you get a response? I just wonder about that. Well, and kudos to the guy for saying, you know, something as simple as it's right there, just read it. Oh no, you're not gonna talk to me like that and I'm out. Kudos to him. Like right then and there, that was it. You know, I
was completely oblivious. I was so lost on what happened. Like that night, I even texted him and was like, what just happened? Like, well, I don't know. I don't like how that ended, and I'm not sure why it ended that way. He didn't tell me then. It's been months now, and I just got that answer. And so,
but I like that. I like that a lot.
I do too.
I like that
because
a lot.
It gave me the opportunity.
You should not have.
It gave me the opportunity to reflect on the moment and to come away with it with understanding what part I played in it. So, what does it say?
Okay.
The opportunity to say it just gave me the opportunity to reflect and say, okay, here's the part that you played in that. You need to be more mindful about how you say things. And I know that about myself because when I talked to Sin about it, he was like, well, yeah, you know, you can be condescending. And to your point about the people who we love and love us, they have a level of expecting that and understanding that and accepting it that we cannot assume other people will have. Even if we actually care about that person and we want that person in our lives, and we may put them in a place that is similar to those people who have that
and expect them to,
right. We can't lay that on them. And so it was very valuable for me to have that conversation in hindsight and take responsibility and accountability for what I did to create it. And so going forward, you know, it's just another tool in my tool belt now of, all right, when you find yourself in a place where you're liking someone or you're caring about them and you want to get to know them more, be more mindful about how you respond to the things that they do and how they show up.
Mindfulness. I'm telling you, that's been big in the past maybe 6-7 years for me. Mm-hmm. Mindfulness. And you know what triggered mindfulness for me? A conversation with Kevin Powell. You know who Kevin Powell is. A conversation with Kevin Powell years ago. He spoke at my library, Montclair Library, and part of his speech was about mindfulness. And what he was saying was resonating with me so much because it's like, you have to pay attention You have to read the room.
Yeah.
You have to
Some
really,
people are really bad at
yes, like simply reading the room will help you so much in how you project. So just be mindful. So shout out to Kevin Powell. Shout out to you for instilling that in me. It's always there now. I am very mindful now. Whereas before it would just be like, you can't take it. It's not my business. It is my business because you reap what you sow. And then you wonder why people treat you a certain way, you know? So that, yeah.
So before we close out, I just want to read this comment and then ask you if you have any final thoughts. Better You says, I think some of us have a particular level of hardiness in relationships. I feel it causes some of us to stick around a bit longer than we should.
Yeah. It is the hardiness. And me, I thrive in darkness, believe it or not.
Yeah. And I thrive in brightness.
And
so see how this doesn't really I'll be like, where's the light? Where's the light?
And be like, me, like, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid to go down in the depths of darkness because I rise up out of it, you know? So what you said, that hardiness, yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So in conclusion, I would just say, I love you and I'm never going to punch you in the face.
I love you too.
But you know, she said she ain't never going to punch me.
I'm never going to punch you in your face. I will never punch you in your face, ever. I will never lay hands on you again. You're not a child anymore.
Yeah. But I don't think I give you a reason to. I think we're past that anyway. You know, even if I say something that you don't like. Last summer when you came downstairs and we were fussing at each other.
Because you were talking to Nana.
I don't even remember what was said.
You said something. You snapped at my mother. And I was like, who the fuck are you talking to? I came storming down these stairs saying to you, don't you talk to my mother like that. And come to find out she wasn't really talking to my mother.
No.
I got defensive because I thought she was talking to my mom.
Right.
And my mind was blown.
Like, why would you think that I would say that?
But that's why I was so mad. That's why I was so mad. But guess what? Maybe an hour, 2 hours later, what were we doing? What's for dinner? What you cooking? I'm cooking. You cooking?
Yeah. But I definitely had to leave. I had to go cool off after that. Because I was crying and upset because I'm like, how did that happen? How did she misunderstand what I was saying or who I was talking to? Or why would she think that I would be that disrespectful? So that's, you know, just an example. But thanks for joining us today.
And thanks for realizing that despite we love each other as mother and daughter, it's real. This is real.
Yes.
We're in conflict.
This is not scripted.
No.
But our ancestors sent us. So
thank us later.
Yeah. And y'all know how I like to end my streams. Peace, ease, and whatever you please. Hope y'all have a good rest of y'all Sunday. We out.